Hello, and welcome to Bridgeford Trust Company's Delivering Direction and Control podcast series. Our podcast series is designed to educate, challenge, and inspire listeners while keeping you updated on developments regarding modern trust law and powerful planning opportunities available, all in an effort to deliver direction and control to clients and their advisors.
Hello, everybody. This is David Boring here again with yet another episode of our podcast series. Well into and past 50 episodes, which is amazing and hard to believe. We've been able to interview so many amazing thought leaders, not only across the country but around the world. And I continue to be humbled by the amount of people who follow this podcast, and I'm proud of it because we're talking about really important things that's impacting our industry and thought leadership, which is so near and dear to my heart. And today is a great way to kick off 2026 with a friend of mine and collaborator that we've known for years and had kind of admired. I admired him from afar as I learned about him before we started to collaborate on some business, and you'll hear why in a few minutes. But as we kick off the new year, why this is such a perfect way to start is because of the opportunities for planning, particularly in light of some of what we'll talk about later, which is undeniable sort of chaos in the industry in the United States and also really around the world, which really is a call to action for those of us who are passionate about planning and protecting our families and our business owners, to harness the uncertainty, understand it as a guiding light, and as I said, a call to action. And so with that, I will introduce you to Yaasha Sabba, who is an amazing attorney in many different respects, an unusual practice, a very focused practice, and also a teacher and mentor to other attorneys all over the country, which we're going to talk a lot about as well. He is based in the San Francisco area. His company is called Sky Unlimited Law, and I love that because it's true. The sky is unlimited. And soon we will be neighbors. Today we actually announced the launch of our Bay Area, San Francisco presence and location and office. And so I apologize. I will try to be quiet neighbors, Josh. I will say quiet and courteous. I don't know, but we have been known to have large parties, and we're having a big one on the 12th of February, which of course you're welcome to join us in the Bay Area. But with that, Yash, I just want to say a sincere congratulations to what you've done in your career. It's extraordinarily impressive, and also a sincere thank you for the work we've done together. I hear nothing but glowing and amazing feedback from the clients, our mutual clients, and what you're doing is clearly very special. But you didn't start out as a trust and estates attorney, did you? It sounds like you had a different career path at first. So please take us to from how you got from there to here, because it's pretty fascinating.
Wow. Well, first, thank you, David, for having me. It's very humbling to hear so many great things from somebody that I think I was listening to your podcast from like podcast number 2 or 3. So when you're like, it's only 50, I feel like it's been a lot more because it's felt like that way. There's so much to learn. So it's so exciting to be on. I started as a patent lawyer when I first came out, and I left law school thinking, oh, I know exactly what I want. I'm not like those other attorneys that say, oh, your career is just going to just nosedive and change in all different directions, and went really hard, worked at the patent trademark office, then worked at some boutique IP law firms, got out of school, more IP, and then ended up working for Visa International, Visa Inc., the credit card company, as they say.
Yeah.
Basically creating as many inventions as possible and capturing as many inventions as possible that eliminates cash and turns everything into electronic payments. That was kind of one of my favorite things to do, and I knew I didn't want to continue that. Once I saw the opportunity, knowing the company so well, to negotiate a severance, walk out, start my own law firm.
Yeah.
I did start doing patent law, but then I had this one entrepreneurial client. She was about 26 years old. She had her startup, and I was her IP lawyer, helping her out and doing business law with her as well. I was hustling a new law firm. You just do whatever it takes, right?
Sure.
To keep the doors open, really.
Yeah.
And she was phenomenal. Had a lot of work that needed to be done. Customers all over the world, very niche, no competitors, right? Very broad market. And the internet was opening up tenfold. This was back in 2015, 2016. And some of us think the 80s and the 90s were the golden age of America and of the just world. Because
you weren't even born then.
Yeah, that was like during my childhood. And I see it. It was the time where we were consuming as much as possible, spending as much as possible, and we didn't give a damn for anything else in the world. Now we're all conscious about our consumption, conscious about our budgets, because America has something called inflation, and it's gotten worse than what we've probably experienced for a generation.
Yeah.
And so I would say for technology and the internet, our golden era that we've had so far was 2015 to 2019.
So why do you say that? That's interesting.
Well, we had so much money sloshing around in this country from venture capital.
Yeah.
So many startups, and the internet was going through a transition phase of producing a lot more education. Education as a business was booming.
Sure.
And we are in it. This podcast is education as a business.
For sure.
So from there, podcasting picked up, education started spreading. What that meant is more of the people had the ability to start something with their bootstraps without having to have some kind of corporate backing, right? And in the past, to start a company in the 90s, even a technology company, you had to have some kind of corporate backing, or you pretty much had to find one VC who believed in you as a leader. So it was incredibly personalized, incredibly high pressured, a lot of politics. And now during these teen years of our early millennium, we basically had too much money sitting on the sidelines just trying to go through because not enough companies were going public.
Yeah, if I can interrupt you for a second, you had a really interesting and keen approach to, or rather, I guess, front row seat being right near Silicon Valley too, right? I mean, you saw the explosions that maybe a lot of us around the country didn't see. I mean, you saw this that happened right before your eyes, right there.
Oh yeah, it was actually interesting. Before as they would say, before mom and dad started using Uber as an app to get around, it was still a bunch of techies that were passionate about technology that were taking the Uber rides. It wasn't still, Uber wasn't even mainstream, and it was huge around the world. Uber was huge by this time. As part of like building my firm, I was driving an Uber, passing out business cards because I knew I was going to get a lot of tech entrepreneurs and executives falling into my car.
So you drove an Uber and marketed your law practice.
Dude, yes, I've gotten a handful of clients that way, and that's you do what you can to survive.
I wish you would have given me that idea when we started Bridgeford. Although when we started Bridgeford, there was still horse and buggy. So I guess
it was worse. It wasn't even my car. There was another app called Get Around that would let you use other people's car, and it integrated with the Uber app. So I'd get in somebody else's car, and I basically would tell my wife, like, this is better since I'm starting my firm, and now it's a little slower when you first start out. I didn't have the rush of corporate America and that 9 to 5. I was like, I'm just going to get away from the desk and go meet people, and without having to join all these meetups, because I did that too. You did the hustle. I ended up getting.
Did you put your picture on the front of the car, on the side of the car?
No, I did not. So there's rules about that. And people at this time were self-reporting violators of these rules. They didn't like advertisers. They didn't like people's site because you're a contractor in Uber. So that tells you, I can sell other things. There was women selling jewelry in their.
I don't want to know what they were selling. Those women. I don't want to know.
No, yeah, exactly. But it's like you hear stories like this of all people being so entrepreneurial, and it was the times. Everyone was an entrepreneur. Everyone was understanding the definition of entrepreneur at that time.
So is that how you became so passionate about working with entrepreneurial people?
Yes, that's partly why in my IP law firm, I was trying to help startup clients.
Got it.
Also because they couldn't afford expensive lawyers in the mid-tier firms. So it was also, that's where the market was.
Sure.
And at that time, going back to this one client who was basically my bread and butter, what kind of transitioned to me into estate and wealth planning was her parents had both died within the same year. And mom had a trust. She didn't have any assets in the trust. So this is foundational planning 101. And she owned 3 pieces of real estate in multiple states. So any estate lawyer would know, okay, that means multiple probates. So just one will is not a good idea. Having a trust is a good idea. She did that. She hired a lawyer to draft her trust. This wasn't a LegalZoom trust. But that lawyer didn't help educate her on what she needs to do to fund it. Gave her some boilerplate doc And from there, the real estate, well, this was the mid-teens, and she's been holding this real estate since the 90s. That real estate blew up.
Yeah.
She had something in Las Vegas that literally doubled in value within 10 years of her death. She had another home, Central Valley, California, where one of her daughters was going to college. And then she had her home, which was underwater. And this mom had brilliant children, very smart kids, one of my client being one of them. I did the math with my client. This was back in 2016. We said in 10 years, she would be making $1 million a year. We are 1 year off of that point.
Wow.
And she would have been making $1 million a year had she not shut down her business because of her mother's passing. The reason she shut down her business because of her mother's passing is because all of a sudden we had 2 probates, Nevada, California, very expensive. Daughter's her sister was in college, no money, and mom and dad were both subsidizing the lives of their children, still like a normal American family would, except here, daughter was taking every penny she was making into her business and pretty much throwing it back into the business, paying her legal fees for her patents, her IP, her trademarks, and then her contracts, vendor agreements, and marketing for customers, and then actually doing the work, the cost of all that. So it was very expensive, but she had a scalable moment that we were aiming for. She was bootstrapping, no investors, and imagine in 10 years making $1 million a year without investors, she would have been golden. And everyone listening can just sit back and say, yeah, that was definitely the golden goose that she had there. But uncle came in from overseas with a will. Mom didn't have a will. He pulled a will out of his bottom. I know we're on a podcast, so let's be friendly here.
Oh, this one we're salacious. You can say whatever you want. We're like Rogan. We're like Rogan's podcast. You can
just say whatever. Okay, perfect.
It doesn't even have to be true. You can say whatever you want.
Okay, I'll give it a try. He basically started a probate saying, that Vegas property and that other property in the Central Valley of California that are both paid off, no mortgage, are going to me, the brother. And that one property that's underwater, mom was a housekeeper she was a housekeeper. I can't say for who because it'll expose too much, but for a well-off family. And she was making good money, good benefits, and she was saving her money, living a modest life in the Bay Area, and throwing every dollar she could pull out of her own home, as well as her savings to pay off the mortgage, because her American dream was, and this is more of a Eastern Asian American dream, when I die, as long as I can keep a roof over my children's heads, I've succeeded. Now, the true American dream we all might know is we stand on the shoulders of our parents and we do better.
Sure.
That was the dream of the silent generation, right?
A struggling dream right now.
I think as our population is getting jaded, rightfully so in so many ways, that's not the truth. And people are realizing that. So everything is in question. That's why everyone's uncomfortable. But to someone like my client's mother, it wasn't about the kids succeeding. It was more about leaving something behind so they have security, a foundation. And as it ends up, even though she had an estate plan, because of the probates and the litigation fight with brother, because she didn't have a plan that was put in place effectively, she had a plan, but it was a completely useless plan. And that trust was toilet paper that brother literally wanted to wipe his bottom with. So from there, $227,000 later, and no savings or money in the kids to pay this off. And mom had no savings or retirement whatsoever. She threw it all into the real estate. We had to sell the Las Vegas property. And that Las Vegas property we sold. There was no capital gains tax step up in basis. And so we used that money to pay the litigation. We refinanced mom's underwater mortgage for her property because my client used that as her home. She inherited the home, and then the daughter inherited the other home that was with her college. So that worked out well, but here's what happened. The turmoil and the stress from it all caused my client to have to shut down her company. Even a temporary pause ruined everything. Like, that's how sensitive these startups can be.
Oh, absolutely.
She went and got a job at a community college as an alumni relations coordinator, director, something like that. I recall at that time, her salary was about $78,000 per year. I've checked in with her 2 years ago and her salary was up to about $120,000. that's not bad. Okay, that's a good salary. But for California standards,
I was
that's
going to say in the Bay
bucket.
Area. I don't know.
That is nothing in California. Assuming California, half of your wealth is taxed at 50%, just across the board. That's an
Yeah,
easy rule of
it's
thumb. It's
yeah.
probably a little bit more, but that's a good
Mhm.
assumption for everybody. So 120,000, she's making effectively net 60,000. She has nothing.
Yeah.
The impact to her life because of mom's failed estate plan. And at the time, I had a bunch of top law firms and attorneys from my time at Visa. I went to them and I said, give me your badass litigator. We're going after this attorney for malpractice.
Good for you.
And they said, Yaasha, it's not malpractice. And that was when the light bulb went off for me. And I basically said, okay, impact to life is why we do planning, not just avoiding probate, not
I
just
love that.
about
I love that.
taxing
Say it
legacy.
again. Impact to life
Impact to
is
life.
why you do estate
People
planning.
you
That
love
is fantastic. Yeah.
are the ones that are most detrimented about your death. And if you just create a bunch of legal documents, but you have no clue what's happening, and your attorney is lazy and doesn't educate you on, hey,
Yeah.
you have an obligation to take care of this, or they don't do it for you, right? Whichever comes first, whatever the attorney's getting paid to do,
Right.
then you've done nothing but created more of a mess in hell and litigation battle.
So that story was so traumatic for you that it changed your whole trajectory as a lawyer, it sounds like.
I would say, trauma is not the thing. That story was so invigorating for me because
It's more positive.
I realized, like, wow, here's a way things have been done for 2,000 plus years. We've had wills for over thousands of years, literally, and we've had trust for a few hundred years. Since the Crusades, we've had trusts.
Mhm.
So when you think of it that way, why is it we've designed it all in the system in this way? And once I looked into it, I realized because lawyers follow their economic incentives.
For sure.
And the economic
so do trust companies too.
and so do trust companies. And so it doesn't ensure that the beneficiaries are actually protected. It doesn't ensure the clients are making the right decisions. In fact,
Absolutely.
there are some states where the state bar associations still tell their estate attorneys, so many trusts go to court and probate. Don't create a trust, just go ahead and create a will.
Right.
And
right.
I'm like, for any Californian that has a minor child or some kind of real estate, that is a horrible idea. Horrible idea.
That is a big malpractice. I mean, I think that everything you're saying resonates with me, and it explains why we're so much like kindred spirits, I suppose, because you were inspired in the same way I was. That the 2,000 years of the way it was done doesn't mean it was correct. And you and I have embraced, and others, this new paradigm of everything about how you approach the planning and asset protection and all of the things we do with modern trust law that you do with modern trust law. But I never understood the real genesis and what lit your fire. That's a fascinating story. And I get it. I mean, it's hard not to live through that and see a family struggle like that and not feel like you want to do something better in the industry. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I changed my whole practice. I found my own clan of people that are like-minded, say, yeah, the way estate planning is done just on the foundational level is poor.
Right.
So let's change it. That's kind of how I got tapped on the shoulder to become a law mentor and teach other lawyers how to do foundational estate.
Yeah, and I'll get to that in a minute because that's very inspiring to me. But I want to go back to your firm a little bit more and understand and have you explain, because I know why it's very different, but I want our audience to understand. I mean, I think your passion, by the way, is going to distinguish you from so many of a lot of the attorneys we've worked with around the world. I mean, clearly you have a very specific belief in that you're doing the right thing and you're here to do what's best for the family. And you would think everybody in our industry, that's a given, but sadly we both know that's not always the case. There's self-interest everywhere. There's conflict of interest everywhere. Yeah. You and I have talked about that. We started Bridgeford to avoid all conflict of interest. And I know we're on the same page there, but you refer to yourself as a personal family lawyer, and it looks like it's trademarked. So talk to me. What does that mean for you, and define that for me?
Personal family lawyer is a brand and trademark I don't own. It's owned by the big lawyer network called New Law,
okay,
and the Eyes Wide Open Collective. And what this is the creature of another brilliant attorney called Ali Katz, formerly Alexis Neely.
Sure, yeah.
She used to work at Charlie Munger's law firm.
Mm-hmm.
Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett's right-hand guy, passed away, God rest him. And he had his own law firm for Warren and Company and friends, and they were doing a lot of high net worth planning. So the advantage she brought is she kind of without, probably she doesn't know this, but she introduced me into high net worth planning indirectly
Mhm.
because of how she was teaching her lawyers. She created her own education business on educating lawyers how to become estate planners. We were taking a bunch of burnt out family law and personal injury
Yeah.
litigators that were tired of court and litigation and wanted to do
Yeah.
something different. And she said, here's another business model. Estate planning is complex. Sure, everyone, including the financial advisor, can draft a trust, right? But when you really start to look at the nature of people's assets and what it takes to actually stay out of court, stay out of conflict, and make sure you're not just passing on wealth, but you're passing on love
Mm.
and legacy, you gotta approach estate planning in a very unique way. And that's become our ethos. And so to me, I've kind of joined the groups, drank the Kool-Aid and said, you know what, this is exactly what I was looking for. This is what I'm talking about. And I amplified it. And that's how I kind of got involved as one of the law mentors, training all these lawyers, a part of that program. And to me, a personal family lawyer is it's not just, it's what every lawyer wants to be. It's not just a close confidant. It's not the consigliere of the family like we're on The Godfather, right? It's that, except this is the person that stays on the outside in the shadows and helps the clients, the main patriarch, matriarch who's pulling the strings, understand their options and what happens.
Mhm.
Now,
Well, you're drawing a distinction, if I could jump in, between what
please.
is estate planning and what is legacy planning. And I think when you said you're not only helping money pass, but you're helping love pass, and the inculcation of values across multiple generations is something we're real passionate about at Bridgeford. And I think sometimes lawyers in particular miss the distinction between what is estate planning and what is legacy planning. There's Tom Rogerson is somebody who speaks a lot about this. He's on our podcast. He's somebody, if you don't know, I'd love for you to meet. And you're touching on that, and I think that explains your passion and enthusiasm, because you're really doing good work for families, not just today, but should be over multiple generations, right?
Yeah.
So that's your focus, and I love it.
It's hard because lawyers have a bottom line too. They have a business. Some of
Yeah.
them believe they're running a practice. You're running a practice. It's still a business nonetheless. You're charging a fee.
Yeah, right.
You've got to pay your malpractice insurance. That's
Mhm.
and your software and whatever.
Yeah.
So it is getting more expensive to run a practice these days, especially on the human labor side. That I think all lawyers are sitting on the sideline right now saying, when is this AI finally going to get better? Because they keep saying it's going to take our jobs. Please, by the time it's good enough to take my job, I will be making more money. My job is secure no matter what, but I just need it to get better so I can hurry up and make more money.
Right. And so the judges don't get mad about it anymore.
Yeah, exactly. So let it get smarter, because I'll find a way to amplify my service. And what you'll see is you're hitting on something. You're saying, like, we're in this new paradigm. Bridgeford was created for a very particular reason that resonates with this. We are in the paradigm of Wealth 3.0. Wealth 3.0, I heard another
That's excellent.
family office advisor talk about this at a conference, and I loved it. It's Wealth 1.0 was, you just hired me to manage your money. I don't care about you, your family, or anything. I focus on the money, get alpha.
Right.
Wealth 3.0 is, okay, there's beneficiaries. I want to get alpha. We want to pass money down to the beneficiaries, and they're going to accept it no matter what.
Right.
Wealth 3.0 is, okay, money is not everything, but money is the thing, because it's still the thing that creates resources and opportunities. It has complications. You have more things of value that are appreciating. Oh my God, gold. Have you seen what's been happening to gold in the last 2 years? That's not supposed to happen. For decades, gold has stayed flat, consistent, the same. And now everyone's excited and diving into gold because they're saying, oh, let's all buy gold because we don't trust the world. We don't trust anything. And so one item on the planet that no matter what will have value because it's precious. It's actually precious, unlike diamonds, right? And from there, though, gold rising exponentially like this turns it into a volatile asset like Bitcoin. Gold is going to be potentially as volatile as Bitcoin.
Sure.
Or it's just there's such high demand that, yeah, it was time for it to be adjusted and rise up. But this kind of stuff here causes all assets to come into flux and question. And now Wealth 3.0 is about, how do we take care of your family so you have a lasting legacy? Bring in the kids. Let me have a conversation with them.
Absolutely.
And then at the same time, don't just think you have one portfolio in the stock market, because all your other assets are creating problems.
So you hit on something that we've been talking about all year. We've done it with through analyzing the show Succession. That kind of is really a tragedy of what happens when you don't do the things you just said. And Wealth 3.0, I love that because our theme was what we're doing, what you were doing, what Bridgeford participates in is really protecting families of wealth from themselves. And so that's sort of the machination of what is Wealth 3.0, because Wealth 1.0 didn't care about it. Wealth 2.0 didn't care about it.
That's right.
And now we're realizing that, third generation will destroy itself.
Yeah.
And it's not even anecdotal, and the show Succession amplified that. And I love the Wealth 3.0. That's amazing. Yeah, please. So describe that some more. What else is Wealth 3.0?
What's hard about it is it means there's more involvement.
Mm-hmm.
There's more work to do.
Mm-hmm.
The question becomes, how do we all get paid for that? And what it really means to me is we're in an era now where not one profession can handle everything.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone, it's so funny when I hear my multi-millionaire clients and they're like, oh, I'm interested in building a family office. And these are clients that are new money. They didn't inherit 100 million. They made their 100 million.
Yeah.
So when you do that, no matter at what age, you do get this sense of invincibility, because obviously if you can make that 100, you can do anything.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
And from there, they say, I'm going to become a billionaire one day. And I mean, anyone with 100 million liquid investable assets, turning that into $1 billion in this day and age, with all assets being as volatile as they are. And just think about it, the amount of globalization we're about to have, the amount of planetary exploration we're about to have, can really make that happen within a lifetime. Easy.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Well, and private equity purchasing of businesses and that sort of thing.
Oh yeah. It's
so
crazy. And so when you think of it that way, yes, you can turn 100 mil into $1 billion within a lifetime. A lot of people can do that. And you don't have to be brilliant, smart like Elon Musk or Larry Page. But
well, look, Trump did it with only 40 million. His father
Trump did it within 24 hours. Like, oh my God. So think about it. The day he walks into an election, he makes himself a billionaire again.
All you need to do is say it, and it's true, right? That's where we are right now. Anyway, so back to, I love the Wealth 3.0, and I love your passion for what is a new paradigm. So talk to me about growing the practice, and also your passion about teaching other lawyers, because I can sense, and now I understand with more clarity, why you feel compelled to teach other lawyers. So your practice grew, you have a tremendous reputation, you're doing great work. Where along the way do you say, hey, I need to tell my story and help train other lawyers around the country? Because it's like 500 plus, right, or more that you have.
We're at 800 now. So there's about 800 personal family lawyers across the country, and the plan is.
Talk to me about that. Explain to me the program and how you even decided to do that, because that's a big. I mean, you're a young guy, you're energetic, but you're still just one person. So how do you find the hours in a day to get all this done?
I don't have time. So that's what sucks about my life right now, is I'm out of time, and it's incredibly stressful, but I have a solid team that's loyal, dedicated, and I invest a lot of money into them. I stay transparent with them. So that's part of running a business, being a good boss, being a good CEO, and communicating with your team and giving them a vested interest into the firm's success. So that helps me.
And also, if I could interrupt you too, also inculcating the vision and the saga too, which sounds like you have done well. And I've tried to do at Bridgeford, where we're not just here making money. We're not just a 9-to-5 paycheck. We are doing really good work, really important work, and really noble work. And when we hire people, I try to get that across. Hey, this isn't just another trust company. This is something special here. And it sounds like you say the same thing in the market, and it resonates.
Yeah. And I kind of found myself too, like, I didn't realize how much I enjoy talking to other people about their wealth and their money. And a little bit inappropriately, I've built my own je ne sais quoi, like my own ability to interject into people's personal lives and ask questions and open things up, and then just start educating them. I'm a very good educator. So I had that natural ability as I was learning estate planning, transitioning from patents to estates 8 years ago.
It's only been 8 years. You've built in just 8 years. That is
that's what I
unbelievable.
tell everybody. Like, if you're driven, you don't have to be in the field for 20 years to get good anymore. That's what the internet has done.
Yes.
It has enabled all of us to
Absolutely.
become smart very
Well,
fast.
and AI is only going to accelerate that. So I like your
Exactly.
analysis of AI. I mean, I don't think we should be afraid of it. I think we need to figure out how to harness it. And most
Assume that,
don't.
yeah, and if you're not harnessing it now,
You're
it's
out. Yeah.
you're out. Exactly. So I bought ChatGPT for all of my team members,
Yeah.
and I did a huge due diligence checking all the AI and just basically who's going to make sure any slippage of client data into the system is not going to train the model. That's what I care. And when you're dealing with high net worth clients like we
Yeah.
are,
Yeah.
that's where the anxiety comes from.
For sure.
So
So
from
tell me about your education program, and tell me about what you're doing there, and what does
so
that look like?
I basically have a coaching call twice a month. So I'm one of, I think we're now 5 mentors.
Okay.
The program takes on lawyers that want to learn estate planning, foundational estate planning,
Okay.
and not only learn the law and how to do it. That's not the main course. It's learn how to be a business owner and
Yeah.
turn your practice into a business
And
that can
nobody
scale.
teaches you that. They don't teach you that in law school at all.
Right. No, not at all. And a lot of lawyers learn that through street smarts. And I am in some forums with thousands of estate planners. And sometimes the answers I hear from them, I'm like, oh my God, you are coming at this from a studious and a street smart point of view, but
Mhm.
your approach is totally based off of a bad mindset.
Yeah.
And because of that, you might be doing something. And when you think about, and a lot of lawyers, it comes down to the bottom line. I'm producing legal documents and I have an overhead. How do I give out more legal documents so that I meet my overhead and I have some gravy? Everyone wants to make money.
Yeah.
But if you design your firm in a way incorporating technology, automations, AI, software, communication standards, and then you kind of try to achieve best practice of here's what all of the lawyers, we put ourselves on a pedestal saying, here's what the most ideal estate planning attorney is doing. And they are the heroes. That's the Superman and Superwoman, right? And everyone strives for that, but it gets incredibly stressful when you don't have organization in your business, like an operation.
Yeah. I
And
can agree. Yeah.
when
And the team
you
that supports you, like you say,
when
the
you set it up that
loyalty and
way
all
and
of that.
you cover your bottom, then you realize there's a way where you're not just giving out legal documents anymore. You're actually giving out counsel. You're officially becoming a personal family lawyer, the consigliere of the family. Every lawyer's dream when dealing with personal family clients and no litigation.
To be the yeah,
Pretty
nobody.
huge.
Well, to be the first call. I think another way of saying it is to be that first call when they have a problem or when they want
Exactly.
to talk about something. I think that's the biggest form of compliment we can get in our industry. To be
That's
that
how I
person.
got into high net worth planning.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden, all these lawyers across the country are doing so good at their job. They
Yep.
are turning their clients into raving fans. And from these raving fans, they're bringing in whales that said, I've been working with the bank, this or that. I've been working with this lawyer. I don't like them. I've been working with this accountant. And everyone's giving horrible advice. Now, a lot of these lawyers, they're foundational estate planners. They're not high net worth planning, and the program doesn't necessarily yet teach high net worth planning. That's to come. That's the
Yeah,
future.
for sure. You'll get to Wealth 3.0 with them soon. Right?
Exactly. And that's my input into
No,
the
I get it.
organization is I'm driving it in that direction because I do see us, we are going to be the lawyers for the family offices one day.
Yeah.
Because you don't necessarily need to be someone that does everything, but you need to be a good quarterback. That's the thing that Wealth 3.0, Wealth 2.0, Wealth 1.0, all of it still stood on. Somebody needs to be in charge and quarterbacking these projects
All the time. Yeah.
to ensure that they're getting taken care of and there's
Well,
regular reviews and stuff.
and I think that's the proliferation of the family office, the pure family office. I mean, not the insurance company who calls themselves a family office. I'm talking about
Right.
who actually does it. I chuckle. I'm old enough to remember when I was practicing law. Then I went to work for a trust company in Pennsylvania, and they started to call me a wealth manager instead of a trust officer. And I'm like, what the hell does that mean? And then the same people now call themselves a family office. And they're like, what the hell does that mean? So there's all this nebulous definitional stuff.
Yeah.
It's not good for the end user because they're not really sure what that even means either. They know what they need
There's
and
a lot
want.
more
They don't know
confusion.
what to call it. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's the nomenclature. It doesn't make sense. I want to read you back a quote that from you that I found that I thought was very interesting. And
where did you find this? And where?
I'm not telling you. I was in a bathroom. I was in a bathroom in LA, and I looked up, and there was a quote. No, it's not where I found it. And I'm going to take out all the dirty words. No, I'm kidding. No dirty words.
Good.
It's easier than ever to start growing your family wealth and take control of your life. What were you thinking when you said that? And why is it easier than ever?
My own life experience. I'm an entrepreneur as well.
Mm-hmm.
I left corporate America, good cushy job. I was making a way more money as a patent lawyer than some startup attorney and
Sure,
some
of
estate
course.
lawyer.
Yeah.
But when I started naturally bringing in high net worth clients from all these lawyers around the country, I started to realize something for myself. The tax code favors entrepreneurs and investors. The
I think
tax code
encourages
does,
it for sure. Yeah,
yeah,
I
the
agree.
tax code
Sorry. Yeah,
does not favor W-2 employees. My
absolutely
wife
not. That
is
is a great. Can you let's linger on that for a minute, because
yeah,
that is really that is. I never thought about it from that perspective. So let's slow down. The tax code benefits, and I would say encourages entrepreneurship, but does not reward the W-2 employee.
that's
That
right.
is very well said.
That's
Again,
right.
I'll let you continue. So talk about your wife.
So with that in mind and perspective, it tells everyone that the United States government and our society as a whole, whatever your beliefs are on the politics, look at it over the decades, it's been the same. Entrepreneurs, investors get more favorability on how they manage their wealth and what they can get away with in
Hmm?
terms of managing their accounting
Yeah,
than W-2 employees. Nothing is deductible off the W-2 except for a loss, like a deep loss. And those are
deep
hard to take.
lots. Yeah,
Now, as an entrepreneur, if I have a loss in my business, I'm like, oh, goody. I'm like,
right.
I still survived. My team's still here. The business isn't gone. We're going to bring in revenue, and whatever experiments we were trying, okay, it didn't work out. But now that loss goes on my bottom line, and I'm going to get my money back.
Right. So that's the incentive to take
That's the
risks.
incentive, is you're not going to lose. At the end of the day, you're not going to lose, because even though you have to survive and make revenue in your income, sure,
Yeah.
you will still have any kind of losses or write-offs and stuff like that to take advantage of. And so I realized I don't need a ton of money. I don't need this cushy multi six-figure salary from some corporate 500, Fortune 500 and a stock option plan or anything like that, because even with the little money I'm bringing into my firm, I have a much better lifestyle.
Sure.
And I have a lot more options on where I can go and what I can do. That meant the world to me.
I
So
know.
that's kind of,
You and I are very similar.
I think a lot of people, would fall into this bucket of, I just want to know that I have financial security, financial independence. That's what we all strive for. Get out
Well,
of
that's
your
what we're
parents' home and
taught
get
in
a job.
school, right? Isn't it? I mean, I'm not going to make a political statement or any way, be pejorative about the American education system, but entrepreneurship isn't encouraged. I mean, I came out of high school in '91, and there was no, it was go to college, go to law school,
It's because
put
you
your
can't,
mask on and join the parade of WT employees doing what they're told.
you can't standardize entrepreneurship. That's the thing. Like
Right.
even with Y Combinator, bringing in all these innovators, these young minds ideas, and then Y Combinator having, it's a platform,
Yep.
basically inventors on one side, creators, inventors on one side, money on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
But the money always has one demand, and that demand is yield.
Return.
So
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
whatever model you create, you have to focus on return. You're not really focusing on entrepreneurs. There's a lot of entrepreneurs that have started businesses that we would have been like, how the hell did you make that happen? Where did that come from? From the clothing and jewelry designers on how they got their starting and how they got their big opportunity, to even the tech entrepreneurs that were creating technology that was nothing forever and nobody cared about.
You can say it's okay.
Yeah, right. Once I get comfortable enough, it'll all come out. I promise you. But
Right,
I'm still standing strong. And so from there, you've got some hidden gem companies, and this is the advantage I see now. It's like as I get deeper and deeper into my practice, I become more and more solidified on my theory and mindset. So I am becoming a little not conservative, but a little bit more mindset locked in a sense when it comes to high net worth and what this country really means and what it means to pull up your own bootstraps individually and build your financial security, your financial independence.
So that's a tremendous segue into where I like to kind of take this and end together is you hit on something that we can't ignore, which is, well, this is the message of the of the country, and this is the ethos, I suppose, of what is supposed to be capitalism, or however we define that.
Yeah.
But as we sit here today, we can't deny the chaos that's surrounding us, and I mentioned that earlier as we began, and to avoid politics, I think as planners, as lawyers, we just can't deny that we're seeing things happen that are challenging fundamental beliefs and foundational thought around how institutions operate. In some cases, how business operates, and certainly how government operates, and how that it is impacting people's lives in such a tremendous way. And I'm not saying it's negative or positive, because I'm not going to get in politics, although I have some strong opinions about it. But as planners, and I've been saying this now for 18, 20 months, we can't ignore this unbelievable uncertainty. And as I said earlier, so we can be positive and say, like Bono says, uncertainty is a guiding light. And it's one of his, I'm a big fan of you too. And so that's where we turn this craziness into an opportunity to do really, really high-end planning. But I can say we're in an environment that I've never ever seen before. Again, I'm a little bit older than you, and I'm not saying I'm as worldly as the next guy, but man, I mean, the crazy questions we get from our largest clients are like, should I get my trust out of the United States?
Yeah.
Should I get my assets out of the
I've
United
had that
States?
before. Yeah. Those
Absolutely.
questions.
And I did. Would we ever think we get that question 2 years ago? Absolutely not. And so you said something before we started that I really like about you're determined to stay positive. You're determined to keep innovating and thought leadership relative to planning for your clients, and not get caught up in the hyperbole of negativity, I suppose we could say, because there's just a lot of it. So comment on that.
I put it into perspective. I have decamillion families that are asking these simple questions. And think about it, when you have less than 100 million, but you still have more than 50 million or 20 million in a trust, there's something substantial there. But while that seems like a lot in the grand scheme of a family of 12, 15 beneficiaries, at this point, that's not a lot of money, and there's not much they can do. And resources do still matter. It's a small business still, in a sense, a mid-size. Let's just keep it at that.
Sure.
But from that standpoint, there is a target on wealthy people right now. It is a pendulum swinging. Like we say, the tax code is a pendulum. It's always changing back and forth based on the politics. We're in an era right now where the politics are hyper conservative around the world, and the US led that, right? So while the day-to-day tweets of President Trump can inflare one's passions, right, and to me give a great entertaining, like, this is better than TV, other than the show Succession. Like, this is
well, it is kind of like a reality TV show, which is ironic given our president's background. But okay, keep going. Yeah,
it's like and as Americans, Americans are in this divide right now because there's the haves and have-nots. That's where it gets scary. That's
which is growing, which is
growing tremendously.
Yeah.
And like, looking at, I have clients with as little as $200,000 net worth. My largest client is 260 million net worth. We don't want to deal with billionaires because my firm just is not, every transaction's an LLC. We're not equipped to handle that. So we send billionaires off to someone else, a bigger firm, Northern Trust or whatever. But for those like, let's call it mid-size high net worth, right? Yeah. The middle rich, as was said in Heckling in 2023 or 23. Yeah. They're the ones that still need all the help. They have so much potential opportunity in front of them, but they are the haves. A lot of Californians don't realize, even with a net worth of 2 million, you are one of the haves.
For sure.
You're in the top 12% of this country.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah. No,
80% of this country doesn't have more than $200,000 in investable assets.
Yeah. And I think we're missing that. That's where
and I mean, so all of my customers are in the top 12%, the mass affluent, as we call them.
Yep.
And there's plenty, that's multi-millions of people. There's plenty of work to go around. I'm not in competition with any estate lawyer because so many people have increased assets now. And that bubble, that 12% will become about 15, 20% in the next 2 decades. But the have-nots that are under that, their amount isn't going to be 200,000. It's going to be less.
Yeah. All right.
That's where the divide is. And that's where the uprisings come from. And if you look at the history of just uprisings and revolutions, it's because there's just too many have-nots and not enough programming to support them.
It's always economics. Absolutely. It's going all the way back to the Russian Revolution.
I'll be honest with my politics. I have a client that she is a huge donor to Elizabeth Warren, and she really pulls me in that direction. And I have a client that has shaken Donald Trump's hand. So I've got them on both spectrums. To me, it's about money, not about their politics. I'm happy to help anybody because I have a business to run and I can't judge my clients based on their politics.
No,
Some
well, we
lawyers
have
do
to
that.
be agnostic. Up until politics actually hurts people, which I think
So it's exactly. It helps me because then I use the opportunity to try to find understanding. And obviously, you're talking about the client's money. You're going to talk about tax and economics, and from there, values always come into play. Values are always behind money and where it goes.
It should be.
And
It should be.
so
And
when
it's
you
a
have
legacy
that,
planning. Yeah.
I've
Well,
taught myself to be more neutral on this stuff.
yeah,
But
no, and I respect that. I love your approach on it, but it also raises conversations that we could do a whole nother podcast on around a heightened sensitivity to achieve real asset protection, which you and I have talked a lot about, and that's a big driver for both of us day to day, and privacy, not secrecy, all the things that we talk about our clients.
That's the marketing for all of us now, is just reminding our clients privacy is not a right.
That's absolutely.
The Supreme Court in their dicta, has said so.
Right.
So what that does when you hear that, and as everybody knows, is what that means is all those rulings that came out of the Supreme Court over the last 50 years that uses Scalia's penumbra approach.
Penumbra of rights,
Basically, the Bill of Rights creates a penumbra of privacy, a little shadow on the cloud of privacy law that we should respect. And that, it's like so funny because Scalia, with his whole style, being a constructionist, came up with that, what the court today would call bullshit.
Absolutely.
Same judges on that same court that created that word in our law, right? And they all said in dicta, there is nothing in the United States Constitution that guarantees your privacy. And guess what, everybody? With AI, we are entering an era where your data is just going to be more exposed and you can't control it. So privacy becomes a service that estate lawyers and advanced planners can offer to build in, because it takes a lot more creativity and bending of the law to make it work.
If I could try, and that's the fundamental distinction between secrecy and privacy, right? And I would argue that Supreme Court Justice dicta notwithstanding, I don't agree. I mean, I think I don't think we have a right to secrecy, but I do believe we have a right to privacy. That's why
I agree. I love that idea, but now we have to have Congress actually do something about it. They had it.
That's a whole other podcast too.
Exactly.
But I think though that where South Dakota shines, of course, is they're fiercely independent when it comes to privacy provisions, and I love talking about it because, I mean, look, we watched the evolution and then the demise of the Corporate Transparency Act, right? I mean, to me, the good guys won.
It shows. That's a good sign because it shows our society as a whole. The Corporate Transparency Act passed. It's law.
That's right.
It's not revoked. It's not vetoed, you guys. It's still there. And it still says all LLCs in America must do this. It's the administration that's choosing to misinterpret it.
That's right.
Which is so ironic because we had the Loper Bright case that came out and said, if the administration's misinterpreting anything, the court must take the best interpretation available. Fortunately, nobody's suing now to cause the court to come up with best, but that is something that could easily change with the stroke of the pen of the next president.
That's so funny you say that. So I did a live stream event last week, and that was one of the questions to me was, do I think this is dead as a concept? It's not at all. I think that, to your point, I think it's going to come back in some form or fashion, and I think we need to be vigilant because I do think we need to protect our privacy.
I think President Trump did put us in a position of power of negotiation. Because not because of him, but because we are the largest consumer on earth. And that is what has been giving America the leverage for the last 100 years. Right. And from there, because of that, Europe and the EU is not knocking on our door anymore saying, hey, align your privacy, your Corporate Transparency Act with ours, because we've been doing this forever. And the whole reason we passed it was to get more aligned with the global environment. And just because we had a very deep liberal body in our government, in Congress, in the administration prior to President Trump. And from there, they agreed, no more secrets. This is bad. We'll keep it private. You're going to disclose everything to us, the federal government, and no more secrets. I think what people realize is, no, don't trust the government.
Well, in some countries,
I believe in our government. I believe in everything that's going on. But
Isn't it?
leaning on trusting the government is an inherent fallacy, because as you can see through histories of the world, governments shift, they change, they fall, they rise,
Right.
and all your data on a database becomes the owner of some new proprietor.
Or a hack. I mean, look at the Pandora Papers.
Or a hack.
That's
exactly.
the other. And I mean, that blows my mind still. That's yeah.
I still meet with lawyers that have some fallout from the Pandora stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
Indirectly with their client, and it's still all out there. It's still a thing.
And that was the fear of CRS, and continues to be your fear of CRS. We're sharing information among countries that don't know how to protect it. I mean, it's just a matter of time, right, before somebody gets kidnapped because some government official sold a database, and some nefarious person figures out who's a billionaire in Mexico. So they
most hacks today, most of the big ones, there's an internal player. It's not
of course
brilliance of some computer cracking a code. It's usually an internal player unlocking the door.
Absolutely, every time.
That could easily happen with a whistleblower in a government or something. So it's like, okay, trust the government, but don't trust the government with your data. Always scrutinize how they're taking care of it. And sure, we'll have Congress and we'll have bodies doing that for us. I believe in that. But the best place to start privacy is right at home, right with your own self. And the foundation of privacy, believe it or not, starts with your revocable foundational estate plan. And if I can give anyone good advice, especially lawyers listening to the podcast today, or financial advisors, tell the lawyers to do this. Please don't put your client's name on the name of your trust. Do not call it the Yaasha Sabba David Warren Revocable Living Trust. You call it anything you want, name it whatever you want, as long as it's not lewd or inappropriate, because there's going to be public facing assets. So you don't want, don't call it the Dick Trust unless your client's name is Richard, Yeah. But from there,
it's probably the biggest piece of practical advice you've given so far.
It's the foundation of privacy. It's where all privacy starts, is on the foundational estate plan. And you don't want the client name or the family name exposed in that way. And just to take the name off, you're retitling assets, you're spending a lot of money. Just to get to advanced planning and start talking about tax and all that, you need privacy built in. I always go back and I clean up the foundational estate plan or create a whole new trust, just because that does become a problem. And a lot of the times it's too costly. There's too many assets that we basically give it to the client and let them decide. And
I agree.
That's when we're going into holding companies to create just more barriers and layers of privacy. But advanced planning 101, privacy is the key first, then tax.
And asset protection, which I think is a form of,
it's a form of both, in a sense.
It's a form of both, for sure. You are inspiring, and your passion is infectious. And I am so impressed with what you've done in the last only 8 years of your career in this side of the law. You should be proud of what you've built. Our listeners should certainly take you seriously. Check out your website. Your teaching and focus on training people up to the Wealth 3.0 paradigm that you talked about, which I love, is also inspiring and extraordinarily commendable. And our friendship and our collaboration is very important to me, because I want to surround myself with big thought leader, big idea type people like you, and you are. And so I want you to continue the path that you're on, and I want us to continue to grow and find great ways to continue to serve families around the world and around the country. And you mentioned Heckerling, which I always say is the Super Bowl of our industry.
I know, it's coming up. Oh my God, my inbox is inundated with everybody getting giddy about it.
You better rest your liver, as they say.
Yeah, all right.
It's quite a week, but I do look forward to seeing you in a couple of days. I again very much appreciate and value you and our relationship and the way you look at the world. And again, for our guests and followers and people watching today, all of Yaasha's information will be attached here. Again, please take him seriously. Look at him if you're thinking about planning or have any concerns about where you want to go with generational wealth, particularly if you're an entrepreneurial person, because you can sense the passion that Yaasha has for working with that type of family. So thank you again for joining us. Is there anything else you'd like to impart to our audience before we let you pack up for Heckerling? I
appreciate you having me on the podcast. Would love multiple opportunities to be here. I could talk for hours on all this stuff, but I love listening to it most of all. I want to point out a key reason why I bring a lot of my clients to Bridgeford is because of privacy. South Dakota does allow you to have those silent trusts. It does allow you a lot of autonomy and how you can structure trusts, even special purpose entities for managing the trust distributions, the trust assets and stuff like that. So it doesn't matter where the beneficiaries are in the world. And Bridgeford has been following it on the golden standard. the way that I love the trust officers. The whole team is awesome. So I always love seeing you guys at the conferences because it just feels like a great time. We at our firm, we're focusing on foundational estate planning, advanced estate planning, and now more particularly business exit planning.
Yeah.
For all the financial advisors and everyone wondering, okay, what's the next big golden goose? This is it right here. Baby boomers have headed into retirement. 75% of them are retired. That last quartile of boomers that are not retired, guess what? They're the business owners of America's small business backbone. The economy of America is built off of small business, larger than the S&P 500. It's just, there's a ton of them. They're all so commoditized and small that any one of them doesn't do things. But as an industry as a whole, it's very serious.
Well,
and
they
the
need to be
majority
taken
of them
care
are
of.
owned by baby boomers who need to retire.
And they need to be taken care of by people.
They need to be taken care of. Those boomers need to know how to squeeze the value out so they can have a secure, financially free lifestyle in retirement that want to exit their business. Mm-hmm. And then there's a whole generation of young adults that want to be entrepreneurs, but they don't know how to purchase a small business, or that under, and this is why the reason I'm echoing it now, because under President Trump's regime, he is loosening the wheels at the Small Business Administration to make it easier to get a loan to purchase up to 90% of a business, and you put down a 10%. Like that kind of stuff is not easy in and of itself, and the SBA has always been very strict. Today, the SBA is a lot looser because the administration realizes that there's a lot of boomers that need to transition, and if we start losing these small businesses because they liquidate or sell, there goes the backbone of our economy.
I was going to say, weakens the backbone. Yeah, weakens the economy.
Exactly.
No, I get it.
The estate lawyer, it is the best time in America to be an estate lawyer or financial advisor because there's so much transition of wealth. There's so much transition of business. Assets are blowing up left and right. And everybody's chasing that dollar as a result, because it's so easy and the internet is full of that information. That Wealth 3.0 means everyone has free access to legal documents. Everyone has free access to financial advice. So your financial advice and legal documents, sure, you're making some money off of that, but that's not your value. Your value is how you help a client get educated, get organized, and make decisions. That's your recurring revenue model. And once you start setting up your firm in that direction, you'll realize you're actually taking better care of your clients as a result of it, because you're not focused on this bottom line of legal documents or hourly counsel. You are focused on results, and results leads to raving fans. Raving fans leads to an inundated practice. So Bridgeford is a part of inundating my practice. That was a long circle. But I can tie results to.
I stayed with you, and I know our audience did too. Well, good. It's been a pleasure talking to you. I really look forward to you in a couple of days. Thanks for all you're doing for the industry and all the positive energy you bring to it, and we'll do continued great work together.
Looking forward to it. Looking forward to the party.
Thanks again for listening to Bridgeford Trust Company's Delivering Direction and Control podcast series. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast to keep posted on when new episodes are added. And for more information, you can visit us online at bridgefordtrust.com.